Coconuts TV. I live in Bangkok. It's probably one of the most hectic cities on the planet. So today, I'm going to escape. I'm going to shut myself in a dark room and lie on a pool of water. It's called a sensory deprivation chamber. A sensory deprivation tank is like a futuristic bathtub that allows you to tune out the world. The tank is sound and light-proof. Your body feels weightless. Your mind wanders. Sensory deprivation tanks were first developed in the 1950s by neuroscientist John Lilly to study the effects of total isolation and psychedelic drugs on the brain. Today, sensory deprivation tanks are one of the hottest trends in health and wellness. They've been popping up all over the US and Europe for the past decade, but this trend only recently made its way to Asia, and in a big way. Float centers have opened up in Singapore, Taiwan, Japan, and Korea. Bangkok got its first 2 float centers last year. Yet despite its surge in popularity, it's hard not to be skeptical. Essentially, a sensory deprivation tank offers you nothing. No sound, no light, no distractions. What I wanted to know was, is floating just a new age fad? Or is this, as its proponents claim, a revolutionary treatment for ailments ranging from ADD to chronic pain? Anil Alexander opened the Theta State Float Center in Bangkok's posh Phrom Phong area just 4 months ago, but the business is already taking off.
I think everybody can benefit from floating, but the areas where it seems to be the strongest fit are muscle tension or inflammation might be a problem, and that could be back, neck, or spine. And then you have a lot of people who are just looking for self-discovery and trying to improve their lives from the stressful, competitive urban living that we're all doing here in the city.
Nima suffers from chronic pain, which she hopes floating will alleviate. She's going to try it for the first time today.
I'm a person who dreams every night, so I've never had that crazy deep sleep. So I'm hoping that this could take me to that level of relaxation and then my body could recover.
The float tank contains about 10 inches of water, saturated with over a half ton of Epsom salt. It's sort of like floating on the Dead Sea, but in total isolation. Your body is fully supported by the salt-soaked water. At the beginning of the float, peaceful music plays and lights glow to ease you into the experience. But soon, you're encased in total darkness and silence. Researchers have found that when you float in an isolation tank, your muscles relax and blood circulates more freely. Right brain activity increases, and the brain enters a state similar to meditation, but deeper. This is known as the theta state, which lies somewhere between sleep and consciousness. It's a mysterious and elusive state associated with creativity, introspection, and lucid dreaming.
So it's a very sought-after brain frequency, and it's very hard to achieve. And with floating, you kind of get there by triggering a physical relaxation response.
Studies have shown that floating reduces pain and improves people's moods. It's even been said to benefit athletes, enhancing their performance and speeding up their muscle recovery. We met up with Nikon Gormley and Cassandra Holler, who were preparing for upcoming Taekwondo fights.
As an athlete, when you visualize your event, they tell you to go somewhere quiet where you're not going to be disturbed. And the float tank is probably the best place anywhere to do that and not be disturbed, because you're floating, you're light, your mind's light, you feel good, and so when you get into the visualization, you go really deep into it. And so when you go there in real life, it's less pressuring, it's less anxiety.
I did something like this before, but similar but without water. And then I feel like, interesting, so I come and try it. Both of them very good for health, for body. Like you throw everything out, only focus and then clean your mind.
Floating is also recommended for pregnant women.
Top benefits for floating for me would be the weightlessness that I feel, which really helps with some of the aches and pains I get as my pregnancy progresses. Also just the chance to switch off. Living in Bangkok and still working, it's really busy. It's hard to kind of put aside some time by myself to really think about what's about to happen in a few months' time.
Shortly after she finished her first float, we sat back down with Nima.
At first I thought I didn't like it. Honestly, I thought I was like, I don't know if this is for me. But I think by the end, I wasn't ready to let go. I completely spaced out about all my pain. It is kind of the ultimate relaxation technique, I guess.
Some people, like Nima, are trying to resolve specific issues like chronic pain. Others use floating as stress relief or just to unwind.
I think every time you get something a little different out of it, I feel like we live in a world where there's like so much distraction, so much stimuli, everything's just happening all the time. So I think kind of forcing yourself into a situation where you spend an hour and a half with no distraction and no option of being distracted, then it's actually a very healthy and relaxing experience.
Floating is going to be, they say, within the next 5 years possibly, a line item on insurance claims. The whole industry seems to be moving towards a more regulated and a very serious holistic treatment.
Before I entered the float tank, I was feeling pretty burned out. But after an hour in there, I felt relaxed and rejuvenated. There definitely seem to be real health benefits to floating, and it's becoming more and more accepted by the medical community. It may even be on your insurance form one day.